Hi you guys, welcome back to another video. I'm so excited because as you can tell by the title, today is another week of workouts. I feel like it has been ages because it has been since I have uploaded one of these, and I'm really excited to bring one to you guys again just for some old time's sake, you know what I'm saying? So just to give you guys a little bit of a synopsis of kind of where I'm at with my workout split, what my fitness goals are, and kind of what you can expect in this video. Right now I'm definitely more in maintenance, you could say, but I would like to gain a little bit more muscle back in my legs and in my glutes, but that's really going to come down to more so my nutrition more than anything. So my training split is still pretty much the same. It did vary a little bit this week just because I had flip-flopped a couple of days, but I still am hitting legs twice a week. That's definitely my sweet spot for growth, but also not having it be like bleeding into overtraining. So Monday and Thursday are my lower body days. Tuesday of this week that I filmed it was, I switched it to a walk. I usually will do a long walk like once a week, and so I put that on Tuesday. Wednesday was my full body day. I'm only hitting upper body once per week because there I'm just kind of trying to maintain my strength and muscle mass. And then for Friday, I'm still doing my full body circuits. If you guys have been subscribed for a while, you guys have made more know of it, of like an EMOM circuit. I used to do more EMOM style, but then I kind of have switched more to calling it just like a full body circuit. This I do mainly to keep my overall athleticism. It helps so much with like footwork, speed, agility. I found I got very unathletic when I was only strictly just weight training and lifting as heavyweight as possible. So I love my full body circuits. I've been really consistent with those for like over a year now, and I love it. I find it also it helps me to maintain my physique definitely as well. So I throw that in once a week. That actually ended up being on Saturday, now that I think about it, because Friday I was traveling, which you guys will see, but I did incorporate a walk. So I think I went through like 3 walks throughout the week, which you will see. Another thing I want to note is that this video is not including my warm-ups this week, so please make sure to do your own warm-ups before embarking on any of these workouts. I also do not have a step goal right now at all. I basically am just going for walks when it feels good for me because I love getting outside, being in nature. It just helps a ton with my mental health, and it's also a great way to incorporate some low impact movement for the sake of my hormone health. And I think that's everything you need to know. All the workouts will also be written down below, and I'll put my outfits down there as well, but pretty much everything in this video I believe is Alphalete. All right, y'all, let's get into the first workout of the week. So I'm starting off with my trusty hip thrust, but this is a little bit of a complex. So we're doing MYO rep hip thrust, which essentially means that you're going to be doing a normal set, then you're going to put the weight back down, take like 5 to 10 deep breaths, and then you're going to go back up for 5 more reps. This is a great way to really fatigue the muscles and just increase that time under tension. It's so good. By taking that little rest, it allows you to like regroup and still be able to push a few more reps out and really get the most out of your glutes and really get them working. So for form, I always have my knees so that they're stacked over my ankles when I'm at the top of the movement when I'm locking out. So there should be a 90-degree angle in your knee. This is really important to make sure that you're actually feeling it in your glutes rather than having your quads or your hamstrings take over. And you want to be scooping with your hips. So I'm not leading with my belly button and letting my head fall back. I'm tucking my chin to my chest and I'm scooping my hips up, and I'm constantly always pressing up through my heels and really squeezing my glutes and locking out as much as possible. You really want to try to push your hips up as high as you can up to the sky. I clearly, as you can see, was dying after this one. I needed to take a minute because my glutes were going numb. But we love that. It's a love-hate relationship. Then from there, I did a Landmine RDL. I love this variation. Something about the angle just gets me going. This is great for the hamstrings and the glutes. So I did 4 sets again of 12 reps here. I am standing on some plates just to get some deeper range of motion. Most important thing here is to start by pushing your hips back. You want to pretend like you're trying to hit the back wall with your butt, essentially. And you can see that my spine is really nice and long and straight. So I'm not arching at all, and I'm really only folding over by pushing my hips back. So you're not thinking of it as bending over. Your upper body is kind of falling over by you pushing your hips back. So I keep a slight bend in my leg to protect my knee. If you want more glute bias, you can increase that knee bend. And again, same thing like the hip thrust, you want to constantly be driving up through your heels and squeezing your glutes to pull you back up out of that movement. Then I did a B stance leg press, 3 sets of 8. So 8 reps on each leg here. B stance essentially just means that you're having one leg supporting you, but it's not actually having 100% of the weight be on your working leg. So here, like 70% of the work is on that working leg, which is my left leg here, and 30% is kind of being taken on by my right leg simply through support. So it's kind of kicked back behind my working leg. I have a nice high stance here because I'm trying to hit a little bit more glutes, but I will say this is very quad focused, just the nature of the movement. You all are also, are going to be hitting some inner thigh as well because it's a single leg movement. So I'm always pushing through my heel again. Also, anytime you're using the leg press, you don't want to have your knees cave in. So I'm also always trying to keep my knee to the outside of my right cheek. Next, moving into some isolation work, I went into a lying hamstring curl, 3 sets of 10. I love this exercise. So here we're mainly hitting our hamstring, but we're also getting up higher in that glute hammy tie-in as well. So biggest thing here is you always want to be driving your hips into the pad. You want to try to minimize having your butt wink up, and it also just helps to isolate that hamstring even more by trying to shove your hips into the pad. So it also can help to kind of lift your chest up as well if you need to, if you're kind of struggling with that. I also did a nice little negative on the end of the last rep as well. And so then I actually supersetted that with the lying hip abduction. I only did 2 sets here of 15 each side. This is great for your glute medius. I love doing work in the lateral plane pretty much in every leg exercise, every leg workout. So I'm just holding a plate on the outside of my leg, but I'm really not trying to brace it. You don't want to be like lifting the weight with your arm. You just want to steady it, and you want to be actually lifting the weight with your leg. So again, you should be feeling this in the upper outer portion of your glute.
But like smaller, just
Skeet skirt, welcome to Upper Body Day, boys. So I started off with a lat pull down. I did this for 3 sets of 12. So for here, you really want to drop your shoulders away from your ears, and you want to keep your chest nice and open. I feel like I see a lot of people scrunching their shoulders up towards their ears, and their traps are all flexed and taking on a lot of the load. So you want to drop your shoulders away from your ears. Our main focus here is to hit your lats. Other thing is you don't need to be taking the bar all the way down towards your nipple line. As you can see, I'm stopping right at the top of my chest, and again, keeping that chest nice and open. And like I said, the main focus here is your lats. So you want to be trying to bring your elbows towards the ground by squeezing your lats. Something about me and supersets on Upper Body Day, like it's an epidemic. I don't know how I just always need to do supersets. So then I went into a Smith machine row for 3 sets of 12. This is to hit our back. As you can see, I have an underhand grip here. So since we're trying to hit our upper mid back, we want to keep our elbows in towards our side. So I'm not flailing them out. I'm trying to keep them nice and tight towards my side. And I'm pretending like there's strings attached to my elbows and that someone is bringing my elbows up. Or you can picture it as you trying to bring your elbows towards the crease of your hip by squeezing your back. I supersetted that with lateral raises. Can we just have a little mini round of applause? I'm using 12.5 pounds here. I remember the days when I was using 5 pounds for lateral raises. Hello, strength. We love her. So here, I'm not coming out at a T. I'm coming out more at a Y. So I mean, I'm bringing my palms kind of out in front of me a little bit, not directly out towards the side. Also, as you can tell, I'm keeping a slight bend in my arm. My arms aren't pinned straight. This is to protect your elbow. And I'm stopping when my palms become just about parallel with the ground or parallel with the line of my shoulders. We don't need to be lifting them up to our ears. It's just kind of null and void. It's not necessary. So then I did an incline fly, 3 sets of 12. This one is great. We're hitting the front of our delts, our chest, all the good stuff. So again, dropping those shoulders away from our ears to really engage the proper muscles here. We're keeping our chest nice and open. We have a slight bend in my arm, again, to protect our elbow. I'm lowering my arms down again till the weights are kind of in line with my ears. I'm not overextending. And then I'm squeezing my chest, the front of my delts, delts to bring those weights up together. And I am keeping my core nice and tight. I also have a very stable base with my legs on the ground, a very wide foot stance, driving my heels into the ground to have a nice stable base. This one was brutal for me. I was really feeling it, as you can tell by the look on my gorgeous face. If you're not making faces while you're working out, you're not training hard enough. There, I said it. So I supersetted that with Incline Skullcrushers, 3 sets of 12. Pro tip, use an easy bar. That basically means how you can see the bar is like kind of bent. It's not a straight flat bar. This really helps to keep your wrists in a safer position. It's just easier to hold the bar here. So this is for our triceps. I always say to pretend like there's a rod running through your elbow. So as you can see, my front portion of my arm, like my bicep, my elbow down towards my shoulders, that's all very stationary. The only movement here is in my elbow joint to bring my hands down towards my head, and then I'm bringing them back up to straighten my arms by squeezing my triceps. Then I moved into a bicep curl. So this is for 3 sets of 15. Similarly to those skull crushers, I'm keeping my elbows nice and tight towards my side. I'm pretending like there's a rod running through them. The only movement here again is coming from my elbow joint, and I'm just trying to bring my palms towards my shoulders, and I'm stopping at peak contraction. So I'm not letting the weights flop in and like touch my shoulders. I'm coming in about 75 to 80% of the way. Keep that core nice and tight and try to minimize any swinging or momentum. So I supersetted that, you guessed it, with some rear delt rows, 3 sets of 15. Here I am using a flat bar because I have an overhand grip. Here my elbows are nice and wide because we're trying to hit the back portion of our shoulders. So yes, we are going to be hitting some back, but the main intention here is our rear delts, which is the back of our shoulder. So we're trying to keep those elbows nice and wide. Again, they're not necessarily at a T, but they're coming at a 45-degree angle from my side, and I'm squeezing the back of my shoulders. I like to keep my grip nice and loose, honestly, and just very delicate with my hands to remember to squeeze with my shoulders and not be pulling up with my hands. All right, y'all, welcome to the second leg workout of the week. I don't even know what accent this is. I never have done hip thrusts on a setup like this before, but it was already there. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a little whirl and twirl. We'll give it a go. So I did some banded hip thrusts into calf bridges. So I did 3 sets. I did 8 full range hip thrusts into 5 calf bridges. So the difference between the two is that hip thrusts just have a larger range of motion where I'm coming down almost until the weights are touching the ground, if not where they are touching the ground. And then a calf bridge is about half that range of motion. So as you can see here, I'm stopping, like the bottom of the movement is right before my shins would need to fall inward, and then I'm coming back up. So the calf bridge has like about half the range of motion, but it's more glute biased because there's just less involvement of your quads or your hamstrings because there's less hip flexion. So then from there, I did Smith machine step ups, 3 sets of 8 here. These felt so hard this day for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, but I was dying. Like I was lucky to get 8. So I have a high step up here. This is great. It's a huge, big range of motion to get your quads, your inner thighs, your glutes. This is amazing because it really increases time under tension here. So I have my foot kicked out a little bit. Same principle as always here. My knee is now stacked over my ankle at the bottom of the lunge. So that's why I kick my foot out a little bit to have that foot placement. If my foot was too far in, my knee would be way towards my toes and it would be more quad focused. So I kick my foot out from me a little bit so it's almost at an angle if you look from the side, but then when I come down at the bottom of the movement, it makes my knee stacked over my ankle. My shin is nice and vertical and I'm driving up through my heel. I also have a little bit of a slight forward torso lean. I'm bringing my chest towards my knee to get a greater glute stretch as well. Keeping with the single leg train, I decided to do single leg RDLs on the Smith machine. I did 3 sets of 12. I love doing this on here because of that constant tension that's always there. It just has a totally different feel and I love it. So here again, we are hitting our glutes and hamstrings with this one. I am also using wrist straps as well to help me with holding the weight because my glutes and legs are a lot stronger than my grip strength. I do have these linked in my Amazon storefront down below if you're interested. Here you want to play around with your foot placement to make sure that you're getting nice and comfortable here. And you also want to make sure that your hands are properly on either side of the leg that you're working. I find I have to kind of shift around my placement just to make sure everything feels comfortable. So same thing here, I am pushing my hips back. I'm keeping a slight bend in my leg to protect my knee and also to get a little bit more stretch in the glute, driving up through my heels by squeezing my glutes and my hamstrings to pull myself up out of the movement. Clearly, I was dying after that set as well. So then I did some good old seated abductions for 3 sets of 15. You want to kind of tuck your pelvis. So this is called a posterior pelvic tilt. When if you have both hands on either side of your hips and you rotate them back, that's called a posterior pelvic tilt, or that's what I mean when I say to tuck your pelvis under. That inevitably causes more glute engagement with that pelvic position. So I like to keep that. I'm also sitting on the front edge of the machine as well. I'm putting my hands behind me just for some support. And this is how I tend to feel it the most in my glute medius, the upper outer portion of your glute. This workout was so fun, you guys. I was vibing so hard this day. So we're back again at my normal full body circuit. So here I'm doing every single one of these exercises. I'm doing it all in a circuit form. So we're doing each exercise for 40 seconds. We take a 20-second rest, then we go right into the next exercise for 40 seconds. At the end of all of these 8 exercises, then you take like 1 to 3 minute rest in between rounds and then repeat for a total of 3 rounds. So I started off with the rower machine. I don't do this often, but this was so fun. I've been liking it because it's so explosive. So I'm trying to go hard. It's more of like a rower sprint, if you will. I'm trying to really explode from the bottom and really pull my elbows back towards my hips to engage my back as well in that movement. So then I did a squat to a front raise. This one's really fun. It really gets your core engaged. So you want to keep that core nice and tight. I have a sumo squat stance. I'm constantly pushing my knees outward throughout the squat. I'm sitting back and down like I'm sitting in a chair. And as I drop my hips down, I'm bringing my hands up in a front raise with holding a dumbbell. If you want to make this harder or easier, that's just going to depend on how heavy of a dumbbell you're using or if you're choosing to use any weight at all. So then from there, I went to a push-up to row. So here we want to keep a nice stable torso, a nice stable base. I'm not sagging my bum or making my butt come up. I'm trying to keep a nice stable flat line from my spine all the way to my hips. And we're trying to bring that dumbbell towards our hips when we are doing that row. We're not trying to bring it up to our chest or anything. And I'm keeping a little bit of a wider stance with my feet to help to have a greater, more stable base. We don't want to be rocking our hips too much when we are bringing the dumbbells up towards our hips for the row portion. Then I did a reverse lunge to a curl. This is also a fun one. I love this. So same thing like I said for your normal lunge form. Again, I'm trying to sink back and down into the lunge, keeping that knee stacked over relatively over my ankle. And as I'm raising up out of that lunge by driving through my heel, I'm bringing my palms towards my shoulders to get that curl. I'm keeping my elbows tight towards my side. This is great full body. We're literally hitting pretty much everything: glutes, quads, inner thighs, core, biceps. A lot of things are engaged here, which makes it a great full body exercise. Dance break though, you already know how we do. So then to get our heart rate up, I went into some speed skaters. I seem to be lagging a little bit, but you know, ideally you want to go, this should be a very explosive movement. trying to give it your all and really be exploding out to the side. I really feel this in the side of my glutes as well. Sometimes I get sore after this because it's really hitting the upper outer portion of your glutes as well. But this is great for lateral explosivity. Not often do we train in the lateral plane, especially when it comes to speed and explosivity and power and stuff. So this is really great to help build overall athleticism. Then I've been loving this exercise, obsessed with it. So this is the Landmine bar, and I'm doing an RDL to a single arm press. Now, what's really important here, the main reason why we're doing this is to have a rotational component. So when I'm doing that single arm press, when I'm handing off the barbell, I'm not just pushing with that opposite arm and keeping my feet stationary. So as you can tell, I'm pivoting with my outside leg and twisting my hips towards that bar, right? So it should be very explosive coming from your glutes, your core, as I'm twisting your shoulders as well. So it's very rotational. That's also the point of this exercise, is to have some rotational explosivity. Here, please do not underestimate these. These are so hard. I don't know why I struggle with these so much. These are reverse plank kicks. You wouldn't even realize, but you're feeling this so hard in your hamstrings. They killed me. So you want to, again, try to stay in a nice straight line. You want to keep your hips as high as you can. So you're going to want to, like, when you're getting tired, your hips are going to want to sag, but you're going to want to try to keep them as high up towards the sky as you can and stay in a very linear line. And that's what's really going to engage your hamstrings. It also engages your core as well while you're trying to kick up. If you need a regression, feel free to just hold that reverse plank as well if you need some breaks in between that 40 seconds. So then we finished off with an ab wheel. I feel like this always leaves me sore. This is great for a big range of motion here and also stability. So I just have an ab wheel. I am standing on a little pad. I'm trying to bring out that wheel as far as I can, keeping that core nice and tight, sucked towards my belly button. I'm not pushing my stomach out. I'm keeping my stomach really drawn in like a drawstring, and that's going to help to keep my abs activated and having the right muscles firing to pull me up out from the bottom of that stretch. Guys, it's now Saturday and I just finished my sweaty full body circuit. I'm feeling so freaking good today, like so energized, so strong, just in a great mood, feeling so thankful to move my body. Like today was a day where movement truly felt like a form of freedom and it just felt so good. This workout was definitely a hard one, but like in a good way. It's left me even feeling more energized actually. Yesterday was Friday obviously, but I was actually traveling back home to New York. As you can tell, I'm not at my normal gym. So I did go for a 30-minute walk that morning, and then I ended up getting like over 10,000 steps, I think, just from like walking around the airport. So you can take note of that. It ended up being like a relatively active day, even though I didn't do a full-on workout. And that is it for this week of workouts. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys got something out of it. I hope you learned something. I also want to say I did film this video like a little bit ago, so that's why it still looks like in the thick of fall. We definitely have snow here now in Utah, especially since getting to be the beginning of December. But anyways, thank you guys so much. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps support my channel. You can also let me know what you think down in the comments, how I can improve going forward as well, something else you would like to see in the week of workouts videos from this point on. But thank you guys so much for your love and support. I'm sending you so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.